Why did you choose to become an MLA? And what drew you to the Conservative Party? Well, first of all, I actually was tapped on the shoulder to consider running way back in 2023, and I've always worked conservative. The only time in BC that I had to go to the BC Liberal was I was persuasive to conservative. And later on, when they were pushing out the conservative, I had to hold my nose because anything but the BC.
Still good? Okay. Saying that the most important thing is a healthy economy. If we don't have good forestry, if we don't have good mining, we don't have good LNG and all those kinds of projects, we have no money coming in, and taxes can only pay for so much. So in order for us to afford all these social services, we've got to make sure we have a strong economy. And for the last probably 9 years, the economy has been going downhill rapidly, but social services and costs for public sector jobs is going up, and you can't sustain that over long term because you can't tax people enough to be able to support all the social services. You need a strong economy, you need a healthy economy, and that's what funds post-secondary, that's what funds public education, healthcare system, social services. So I would love to see more of that, but only if our economy is strong and we can afford it. Otherwise, like now, what's going to happen, there's going to be a lot of cuts because we're racking up your debt, which you will have to pay for probably for your whole lifetime if we're not careful. So yeah, a healthy economy, and absolutely put in the services that are needed by the community. But what we're finding out with immigration, I think they've brought in too many people too fast. We don't have room in our schools. We don't have room in our hospitals. We don't have housing. And so that's what's caused the problem. And I think I would like to see British Columbia take control of immigration so we can vet people who can contribute to society, not just, there's obviously some that you want to bring over, but most of the time you want people that can add to the economy, not take from the services. That'd be my take on that.
What qualities should many people in politics need to stay away from?
I think pride is probably the biggest thing. When people get elected, they actually think it's about them. It's actually not. Most people vote for the party first, the party leader second, and the candidate third. And so what happens when people get into power, they look at it, because there's an election every 4 years, what can I do to get elected again next 4 years? What can I do? Rather than doing the right thing, doing the work, and just let the voters vote. That's how I operate. I'm not looking at when's the next election. I just do my work. And if I do it to the best of my ability, people will see that and they'll elect me again. If not, kick me out.
What's the best part about being an MLA?
Working with constituents. People in my community, when they come here, they usually have a problem navigating the healthcare system, the seniors care, Medicare, or anything like that. And so then our office can link them with the right ministry that can help them. And absolutely, that's my favorite part, is when people in my community come here for help and I can link them with a service that meets their needs. That is the most fulfilling thing for me.
Would you say someone who is willing to fight for the people with everything they have is a good politician?
Yes and no. First of all, because you can't please everyone, and you can't take on every cause, because that's impossible. So I never promise what I can't deliver, right? So I can say to the person, I will do whatever I can for you. And then I get back to them saying, well, here's what I've done. Because I'm opposition, the government won't let me go any further, but I'll keep hounding them for that. That's basically the promise I make. And sometimes people overpromise especially when they run. And I think that's a downfall, because you can't. You can't please everyone, and you can't fight for every single cause out there. It's just too much. You should see the letters and emails I get daily. It's a stack. We have to go through, here's how we answer that one. Yes, we can meet with that person. Yes, we can do that, but you can't meet with everybody and can't meet every need.
What makes a good politician?
For me, it's what I admire actually in other politicians. When I look at certain politicians over the years, I go, man, I admire those things. And I think some of them I've written down here: servant leadership. It's public serving. I think we've lost some of that. And I think people are a little bit jaded about politics because of some politicians not serving the people rather than serving themselves. So, and humility and integrity, because you only have one reputation in your life, and it's hard to make a good reputation. It's easy to lose it, right? So you got to try to be consistent. What I do is I need to go to bed at night, put my head on the pillow and say, okay, I did the best I could with what I knew and what I was able to do today. That's basically how I do it. So.
What's your stance on 1BC and Dallas Brody?
I really don't have an opinion. What I will say is that MLAs are elected to serve everyone in their riding. Like, I'm a conservative, but someone who voted NDP in my riding, I need to serve them now as their MLA. So when you're running in an election, you run under a party. Once you're elected now as an MLA, I serve 48,000 or whatever it is, 68,000 people in my riding. And I support, and I think an MLA too is supposed to support their party and their party's platform, because that's how they got elected. So I think it was a little bit of a selfish move on her part and others, but we'll see what happens in the next election.
What advice would you give your younger self on politics if you had the opportunity?
Probably get involved earlier. To understand the history of politics, to understand the nuances of politics and the impact that decisions make at different political levels. That's very important. So that's what I would probably wish I would have done sooner, because I got involved in politics in 2005, and so I was probably 40 something years old, and prior to that I didn't really get too involved. So yeah, I think get involved earlier, read a broad range of views, not just one political party, kind of understand the landscape, but you got to land somewhere, right? And so then go with your own personal convictions, understanding the different platforms and the different nuances from different parties. So that's what I would do probably.
What advice would you give to the generation who may want to enter politics?
Yeah, be a lifelong learner and get involved right now. Volunteer, get to know your council, mayor, get to know your MLAs, get to know your MPs, talk to them, volunteer, get to understand what their job is and what there isn't, because I know federal level they have a bit of a different job than MLAs, then do municipal councillors and then school board. So they all have their different lanes they need to stay in. Sometimes it gets a little blurred, but understanding that, and then be a lifelong learner. Always want to learn more about politics and different viewpoints. So read a broad range of material, because sometimes we can stay in an echo chamber and we can think a certain way with blinders on, rather than opening up your thinking, saying, okay, taking different viewpoints. In fact, my son did that in school. He used to take on the opposite view than it was actually his view, so that he could learn more about it. So that's a very good thing to do.